30 years ago, this comedy classic hit theaters, giving us this classic moment.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
Figured out what we're reviewing yet?
Really? I think they probably saw it in the title, Chad.
In the movie galaxy of the YouTube universe, you've landed on Frame Rate Studio, your guide for all things movies. I'm Chad.
And I'm Corey. 30 years ago, this comedy classic hit theaters, giving us this classic moment.
Wait. I'm getting an overwhelming sense of deja vu right now.
That must mean it's Groundhog Day!
Well, if you've made it that far, hopefully you'll stick with us the rest of the way. It's been 30 years since this has been out. And it's just seen as such a comedy classic, so 30 years ago it came out. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the fact that it's become the reference to all time loops. I mean, anytime there's a new time loop movie out, it's like, here's the new Groundhog Day movie.
I think what's interesting about this is that, yes, it's the first big screen time loop movie, but it's also something that's covering, these very heady philosophical themes, but it does it in a way that everybody can enjoy because they put it out in a comedy that, you felt accessible. It didn't feel like you were sitting in, Philosophy 101 and your professor was giving you a lecture on all these different things. You're having to write papers. It was, you can go into it and you can go as deep as you want, or you can just enjoy it for the comedy.
It's a simple movie about self-reflection. It's learning to change yourself, and it's comedy-driven, more dialogue-wise. Not like Ghostbusters. Let's stick with Bill Murray. Ghostbusters is slapsticky. This is more truly driven by the comedy of one-liners and things like that. I mean, there's so many one-liners in this one. One of my favorite lines is when he says,
"What if there were no tomorrow?"
And then he rattles off all these things.
It's the same thing your whole life. Clean up your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, be nice to your sister. Don't mix beer and wine, ever.
Then he says, oh yeah.
Don't drive on the railroad track.
And then Gus, he goes,
Phil, that's when I happen to agree.
Yes, all of a sudden, the two drunk guys, all of a sudden, they sober up really fast, and everything. So, I think probably I have a favorite moment and a favorite line. Who hasn't had someone either that they went to high school with, went to college with, someone they know that isn't like Ned Ryerson?
bang! Oh!
The line when Phil and Ned first interact that I love is just,
Ned, I would love to stand here and talk with you, but I'm not going to.
Bill Murray, this is a masterclass in sarcasm. Yes, is he being mean? Is the character of Phil being mean? Well, that's part of his journey. As he starts out as this mean, overly sarcastic, overly cynical, the glass is half empty, whatever philosophical reference you want to put in there.
Before we move on, let us know in the comments below what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? And also, you know what? Let us know what would you do if you had to live the same day over and over.
Also, if you like this episode, or maybe if you just like us, give us the green light by liking the episode, subscribing to the channel, letting us know what you want us to review next.
Also, if you're already a subscriber, make sure you hit that notification bell and help our channel grow by sharing this with the world. Because if you don't, you will live a life over and over and over. You will just go into a time loop. This is your warning. So share it.
Don't think you quite have that power, Corey. But anyway, back to the review. But yeah, there's just, it's what, part of why this is such a comedy classic is all those quotable lines. But then what then adds to comedies like this is those extra ancillary characters. Rita's way too hopeful.
People are great. Some of them been partying all night long. They sing songs till they get too cold, and then they go sit by the fire and they get warm. And then
Phil's supposed to be the, Mr. Cynic.
Yeah, they're Hicks.
Larry is his cameraman. He's just, whatever comes is what comes. I'm good with it.
He might
might be okay. Well, no, probably not now.
So you said for however long
Yes.
he's stuck in this loop.
Yes.
So there is an article, I'll put the link down in the descriptions. There is an article that says it is most likely that it was 12,403 days or 33 years and 358 days.
Yeah, I think it's the basically I would think I saw the same article that it said it was just under 34 is how they put it in what I was reading, but I did like the one you call up because they're talking about to be a master pianist and and to do all these things that he does, that's going to take some time, So
Yes.
that would be 34 years. That's going to be a bit tough.
And then finding out that you can't kill yourself.
Well, yeah, that's the because he says that at one point. He's like, when he goes through his reader, he's like,
I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
yeah,
really?
that's a tough one. Also, I have to call out probably my favorite, most memorable scene, kind of from beginning to end, is at the beginning when he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he's in the psychologist's office, and just how uncomfortable the psychologist is with covering him, and then he's like, well,
I think we should meet again. How's tomorrow for you?
and just Bill taking the pillow and then just beating himself in the face was just perfect.
For back at that time, it was a strong cast. But they're not A-listers anymore. They're definitely B-listers. But did you know that there is a now A-lister, I would consider him an A-lister, that is in the movie. He plays the young man, what's his name, John?
What, the one who fell out of the tree?
No, Fred.
Yeah. Okay, Fred, yes.
The one who gets
Yeah.
married.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Fred.
That is Michael Shannon.
Holy cow! Pardon me while I go through a voice change, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I had totally not caught that. Wow. But yeah, and of course you talk about all the, there's A-list talent. Then of course it's Bill Murray. I mean, that's what makes this movie. It's his whole, like I said earlier, he has both the comedic chops, but also he does a good job at acting. I mean, in general. I mean, he can't even in a comedic moment convey drama. Like I talked about that on Nuts. Like you can tell he's totally depressed and is not happy he's there, but it's what he's so good with, which is what makes usually comedic actors really good, is it's these very subtle facial expressions, and just the looks on his face at times conveys everything you need to know without him having to say one word. And it's just, I don't know. I just was very, very impressed with the job that he did.
I love, there's a critic out there
Okay.
by the name of Desson Howe. He was writing for the Washington Post at the time, and in his review, he says that Groundhog is all he called about it, but Groundhog Day will never be designated as a national film treasure by the Library of Congress. In 2006, the Library of Congress, in fact, put it as a national treasure. Dang! Oh! And you'll love this even more about
Okay. I'm liking this
About
so far. I
Desson.
actually do like this, yes.
to make you realize exactly how bad of a reviewer he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He was also one of the few critics to not give Shawshank
Oh.
a glowing review.
He would. He is dead to me. Completely dead to me. Because you talked about earlier, this is no different than It's a Wonderful Life or Christmas Carol, are those movies about what would you do if you had what would you do differently? How would you live life differently if given the chance? That's what this is.
All right. You ready for the final thoughts?
Absolutely. So, my final thoughts. First, this is a fun existential crisis. It's a great story that covers some heady philosophical themes, but in a way that makes it fun and accessible. You can go deep into the story if you want and the questions posed, or you can just sit back and enjoy the comedy. Second point, Bill Murray. Enough said. End quote, print it. But seriously, he's a comedy genius, and he gives such a great performance that balances the dramatic and the funny and gives us a masterclass in sarcasm. And third, it's comedy classic. I mean, this movie was destined to be a classic. It had all the right ingredients: quotable lines, memorable scenes, great characters, Bill Murray, see my last point, Harold Ramis, and just a fantastic and memorable story.
My final thoughts. First thing is, this is a dialogue-driven humor, and it is, like Chad says, it is a sarcastic humor. So if you're someone who is offended by sarcasm, I will say you may not like this. Second point is, it is a surprisingly simple story about a self-reflection of discovering who you are. And lastly, I enjoyed watching this classic A-list group of actors. Yes, they're not all A actors anymore, but it was fun to watch them do their craft. So how about the scores?
For me, the score was an 85 out of 100. I was very much enjoyed this.
Well, for me, I gave it a 72.5.
Okay. Why the 72.5, Corey?
72 just felt too low. And I'm like, okay, do I want to round? I'm not sure if I want to go as high. All right, fine. I'll give the 0.5.
Oh, wow. You are anything if not interesting, Corey.
The cast of Frame Rate Studio thanks you for joining us on our trek through the movie galaxy of the YouTube universe.
I thought that was really good. I give it a 65. What? You can't give it. Anyway, we won't go with it.
You go through puberty a lot in this.
I do, yeah.